All right, sweet. Sweet. So here's the site there. Cool. So this is like work in progress. Story scores. I see you got it up there already. Yeah, look, the idea of like selling, selling packs online, it's actually, you're not really like selling music, you're selling like convenience, and you're taking the decision out of it for people. So they know they want to make a superhero audio drama, and you're the only guy apparently in town who's specifically working on that, or horror, or whatever your genre is.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a no-brainer for the right person.
Yeah. So then if you click on it, what you'll have is it's like 3 things that say main themes. So now it's like, oh, okay, well, one of these is supposed to be the main thing. That's great. Then there's 3 that are underscore. There's 3 that are action. There's 3 that are conclusion. And so that at least kind of gives you a place to know, like, okay, well, I can try it here and let's see how it fits. Okay, that doesn't quite feel right. Maybe that could be the main theme. But because I talked to another audio drama creator, and they were like, the most important thing for me is to know kind of what the purpose of the music is. And that guides me. That takes that process out of it. So, I'm experimenting with that. And then I think you're right about the art. The question is like, what is the aesthetic? Like an image with the logo of whatever the site is. There's this guy, Frank Dukes, who did this. This is kind of, I think, how he got his start in producing. And he created albums of music that could be sampled. So it was like music he would play in his studio with pianos, organs, all live. And it's super popular. And so I want to take that approach to this, but again, I don't know what the aesthetic of the image should necessarily be. Because his is like, it looks like vintage vinyl. It looks like 60s, 70s records, which is not the case here, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to hear what your thoughts on that would be.
Make it fun. Audio drama is a colorful community. Like a name like Zap Splat is brilliant because it harkens back to comic books, like big sound effects.
Yes.
So it really pops. It it's easy to understand. I would say, look, it depends on who you're serving, but when in doubt, err on the side of positive, of course, because even if you find your most hardcore horror fan who is just sick of everything being so like, bright and shiny, they're still going to get something if it's good quality. But the other way around doesn't work. If you've got someone who's just a bit of a tourist and they just want a nice experience, and then really,
like,
then it's hard to convince them that the evil sort of like aesthetic is actually a front for good music. So err on the side of positive and make it fun. And I'd say bright colors, bright, friendly vibe. It doesn't even have to be a reflection of you in any way. I'm not saying that because of you. I'm just saying
I've got an orange shirt on.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like separating, it's hard for creatives to separate themselves from their business. But I think when you start with who's this for and what are they in it for, and take yourself out of it, it's a lot of decisions get made a lot easier. I'd also say in terms of what you're offering, the value that you're offering, so we're talking about master compositions, stems, individual parts of that composition. I would go even one step further if you want to pack a real punch and just export like MIDI. Basically give the composition away. I'm toying with the idea presently of actually just giving all of my Ableton projects and Reaper and everything. Because I
could do the session. Yeah, I could just do, I could include the sessions as well.
Yeah. And then make it like
do everything with audio. I don't ever use MIDI.
Oh, right. Well, if you're giving the stems away, then that's great. And if you're not using MIDI, then that makes it easy. But what I'm saying is, from the customer's point of view, the value offering here is I'm getting music. But the thing is, music is everywhere. There are already 100,000 sites doing what you and I do. But one thing I haven't found yet, a scarce resource, might be someone who actually allows you to have the project folder. In other words, if you work in Pro Tools or Ableton or Reaper, give them the actual project file, make it, obviously when they load it, they're not going to have your plugins and presets, but that's part of the deal. They kind of know that. And if you wanted to go even further than that, you could get adaptations to all the popular DAWs. So you could do like, what do you work in, Pro Tools mainly?
Yeah, I mean, I use Pro Tools, Logic, Ableton, but I think most of what I've been doing is in Pro Tools.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you saw a product online that was like master composition, stems, the Pro Tools project folder, MIDI
That's huge.
files separated out, Ableton, Reaper, whatever.
Yeah.
Just basically everything. It's hard to find that. And it kind of sets you apart a little bit. Audio drama creation. And half of the people making audio dramas are very kind of audio savvy already. And so they'll want to, for example, import the synth MIDI file and just dabble around in Logic with their own synth files.
Really good idea.
Yeah. It's extra work. It's definitely extra work. But I think it makes it easy for you to sell based on being unique or doing something scarce, you know?
That also opens up. Yeah. That also opens up like more users as well, because I could see anybody who wants to sample
exactly
or produces beats, like, well,
totally.
have the session is huge.
Yeah. You don't actually get to decide what they use it for. And this is the interesting part of a network effect, is that you put the stuff out there thinking, oh, this is music for audio drama. And pretty soon you realize that of the last 10 sales, 9 of them have been for people who work in hospitals. And now you have no idea why that's the case. So you start asking them and they go, oh yes, we are using your MIDI files because we've got machines in hospitals that treat it as meditation music or something like that. That's the world that we live in. So you just got to really listen very closely to the audience and be able to pivot with agility once something starts to resonate. That's all we're doing here. We're just doing a frequency sweep of the room, and we're working out where the resonant frequency is. And then when we hear that, then it's not a guaranteed of success, but it gives you a lot more of a chance. Do you like my my sound engineer analogies? Does that
exactly. Resonance all the way up, sweep the filter. One thing I was wondering, based on what you just said, is what's your, when you talk to other audio drama composers, what's the consensus about what DAW they're using? Because I know sometimes Pro Tools feels, even though it's not any more difficult than Ableton or Logic, people sometimes are like, whoa, Pro Tools, that's the pro DAW. And it's like,
I haven't used it, but it's the hardest thing about it for me is how to get a hold of it and, you know, keep paying for it month after month.
Yeah, you have to keep paying, which is
so that's the prohibitive sort of that's the old Apple iPhone model. Some of them in Ableton. Gabe's work in Ableton is incredible. He did all of his stuff with, like he said, just native instruments and a couple of 8DO plugins, and he's got this thick cinematic sound. And then Reaper I've heard, Logic I've heard. I think
hear Reaper a lot.
Most people are into Reaper and AD. I think that's the kind of go-to. I always recommend it. I mean, it's the only one that I know of that you can actually script and code in with ease. You know, Ableton's got Max for Live. I'm not sure. Does Pro Tools have any kind of console or, you know, script-based input? Not yet. Okay.
No,
I don't need it.
I also love Bitwig.
Bitwig I've noodled around with once or twice.
Bitwig's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's based on Ableton, but they've got all this extra stuff. Like,
the grid is incredible. It's so fun. It's like their modular environment, and you can. I mean, with Bitwig, you don't have to have any third-party synths. Right. Yeah.
Have you ever? I've asked you if you played around with VCV synth before.
Yes, my friend showed me that. I have.
I'm gonna load it up now.
VCV Rack,
VCV Rack, sorry, not VCV synth.
Yeah.
VCV Rack. Let's see if it doesn't screw up my audio. We can like maybe tinker around a little bit. Yeah, man. So
yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. Those are my main questions I wanted to ask you, just kind of to get next week's momentum in order.
Cool. Yeah, let's get this guy down here.
Yeah, I love this design.
Can you see it? Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, it looks great.
So this is an example of connecting with someone online. This is a patch that I got from a guy on YouTube. Also, just I might go online like for a couple minutes at night and just check out what other VCV Rack users are up to. And this guy's like, here's a download, WeTransfer or a MediaFire link to my patch. And then I just literally load it up on my machine. It sounds nice. Then I contact him. I'm like, hey man, that was cool. Thank you. One of the plugins didn't load. And then he's like, oh, which one didn't load? We're just talking, we're chatting. And now I'm telling you about it. And so that's exactly how it works. You give something away for free and you encourage people to build on it. You don't like prohibit. You like, I'd love to hear what you come up with. Yeah. And you're like, if you're going to do remixes of this, the only rule is that you tell me about it. Like, give people the sense that they can take the ball and run with it, and that's worth sharing. Those are the type of people that get recognized now. We've got to become those types of people, because this kind of like, this industrial thing is not really working anymore. The whole model is just too old. People aren't treating digital products as products; they're treating them as like building blocks. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually makes me think that I just said, oh, I don't really use MIDI, but it makes me think that actually there's a lot more value in doing it with soft synths and then and all stock stuff, and then giving that to people, and then they can actually change the sounds, change the MIDI notes.
Yeah.
That's
well,
actually much better.
Yeah, exactly. You could because your thing is live instruments. That's what I've noticed. You've got enough of a network of people, collaborators, and also just your own chops. So I think that's a good selling point too for an audio drama, is people think of, serious productions as ones with music. In fact, the people that I've looked up and hunted down for the show are the ones that have got, some kind of like, live instrumentation or composition ability. So it's definitely more attractive. At least it's just something to put in the show notes, like real instruments on the show. It's all about finding something to stand out. Finding some way to.
But you made such a good point last time. You said, "Well, how do you describe what live instruments is to somebody?" And I was like, "This is such expert bias," because to me, you do this for years. I've probably been making music for almost 20 years, and so you take things like that so completely for granted. But somebody could hear, native instrument strings and be like, "It's an orchestra." How do I need air? Like, that's an orchestra.
Yeah, exactly.
And for 99% of what you're trying to do, that does get there. But then there's the expert issue of it, of knowing it's not. And then there's also the ego thing of being like, well, I've got musicians. Maybe that's stupid. Maybe it's unnecessary.
I think it does have a place. The whole the additional merit that comes with live instrumentation. It's just naive to think that your average listener is going to notice and care as much as you do. So as long as you're doing it for yourself and that's self-aware enough to know that the results are going to be personal. The rewards, at least, are going to be personal. But I mean, hey man, I don't know. All I know is that, like, when I listen to a show with good acting and good music, then that's something worth telling people about. And if that show happens to have something in the show notes about how the music was sourced from, from your enterprise, then I might go and click on that. And if I click on it and that happens to have these packs that are so packed full of value, and I went there as a tourist and suddenly a seed has been planted in my mind, those are the types of connections we're trying to make. Keep going with it. The web, look, I'm biased with my view on like trying to get software stuff going, but basically I'm trying to create like really good web experiences, and I've got your site in mind as a guinea pig. It won't be anytime soon. It definitely won't be anytime soon, because I'm really like I said, I'm struggling with this stuff. But the idea is to take a site like yours and then put it into a Mixcloud type format where people can browse the site, stay on the site, and then queue up tracks, maybe with some queue functionality, or just literally like have a pleasant web experience, have a pleasant experience where they can preview and listen to tracks. That's not just the normal way of doing it, which is SoundCloud embeds and HTML5 players that look kind of ugly. And there's a lot that can be done with the web audio API, and I'm on it and I'm looking into it, and I've got you in mind. So let's build something.
I need to figure out the aesthetic first. I mean, I don't know. I don't want it to stop me not working for a month, but I think I do need to figure out.
Well, chat to anyone you might think of now on the UX UI side of things, and just say, hey, I'm not hiring, but is anything I should know before I start to conceptualize? Like, just find out one expert's opinion is enough. They'll probably be like, make sure you lock down your colors first thing. Like, literally, you should know the RGB values by heart, because that's going to be used again and again, or whatever, something like that. And then, yeah, I would say also just take your time, because like with my artwork, it kind of, like I said, I got a bit rushed and just basically don't use it anymore. It was a waste. So find the right person. In fact, there was one guy I think might be appropriate. I hit him up for the artwork brief, but I'll put you in touch with him. His name's,
Yeah, that'd be
I
awesome.
can't remember his name. Yeah. Fantastic graphic artist. Cool. Yeah, sweet, man.
Very cool.
I think we're gonna run out.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think this recording / meeting is about to end in like 7 minutes. What did you say? How long do you have?
How long do you have until you're going to be a father?
It's kind of mid-October, so another 2 months.
Mid-October.
Yeah, 10 weeks or so.
Yeah. So now you're starting to feel it.
Yeah, I'm like, now I'm starting
it's real.
I'm starting to think ahead. Yeah, I'm like, okay. Hey,
the funny thing is, like, I feel like once it's over with, like all of that feeling of what's this going to be like just goes away, and you're like, okay, this is normal life. It's hard to explain. Like, I was holding him last night and I was like, this would be so weird a year ago, but it's not at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just just a human thing. It's just completely normal.
Just adapt. So like COVID, like we're like, oh, I'm waking up in this nightmare again where everybody's going to the shopping mall with masks on. Like,
yeah,
it's not a dream. It's just this persistent kind of new.
I guess that is just how we live now.
Massive change. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Cool, man. Sweet. Well, yeah. What are your? Have you got anything lined up for this week that you wanted to like maybe work on your business side of things, or are you just kind of doing it one thing at a time?
Well, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out what's my new approach for my site, the one that I've been using for years. What I want to do is cut down on saying yes to projects. I want to cut, like, maybe not with the clients I already have, but with new people, I want to cut down and say yes, and try and find a way to just better serve bigger projects for that, and then put much more of my energy into building stuff for all the other, like, I don't want to say like smaller, but yeah, like, just smaller budget productions, which, tend to be more fun actually, because you have creative license, there's more time, but I think I can't, it's not sustainable for me to put the energy into that I put into the other things. So I have to find another way to do it.
No, of course. Yeah.
So that's what I'm really trying to figure out. How do you make the site look high end, the other site look very friendly?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, well, keep that tiered approach in mind, because you can't really just do one or the other. Like if you're just looking for big budget projects, you're going to start to feel like, you're always being told what to do, and maybe it's not working.
And you're always being told no.
And you're always being told no. Whereas if you're dealing with just the sort of indie crowd, then it's always like there's no budget and it's fun. It's fun, creatively satisfying stuff. But it's nice, keep that balance. If you've got the ability to work on bigger projects, and just keep that balance. Yeah, man. And show off your studio, man. People want to see, like to me, of course, but like people want to see where you're
baby
at.
grand piano, which my neighbor gave me this, and then I had it refurbished, and it's
great.
It's incredible. I love this piano.
A little glockenspiel on top there.
What?
Glockenspiel.
Yeah, I got a glockenspiel, thumb piano. I'm doing the score for a show, and there's a music box in it, and so we're trying to figure out. It's sort of like otherworldly. It has to also describe this mysterious other dimension. So a basic children's music box isn't really going to do it. So we're trying to figure out what's going to describe that sound, and then we can build the score out of that.
Have you screwed around with Kinetic Treats by Native Instruments?
No.
It was a freebie a while ago. I don't know if it's still free, but it's a Kinetic Treats, and it's got like a graphic display of like trains and toys and stuff. It's like a toy box suite.
Yes.
2 or 3 different and clicky sounds and that kind of, It's kind of weird. You got to like move the toys in order. The toys are the parameters. So like the train might be a frequency knob or something like that. It's kind of like a little bit too graphic for my personal taste, but it is fun, and it does the job of conveying like that childlike atmosphere.
I wonder if it's I wonder if they use samples or if it's like physical modeling synthesis.
Yeah, I think it's definitely samples. And the other one that comes to mind, it's not so much kids oriented, but it's also Native Instruments called Kinetic Metal. So they called the one Kinetic Treats and the one Kinetic Metal, which is more like typewriter sounds, typewriter and manual, mechanical steampunk type vibe.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, man. So yeah, good luck with that.
Basically that's taking up a lot of the next couple months. And then a couple other projects, and then just building this stuff. Then we're moving, so we're selling our house. So it's quite a bit at once, but it's all good.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Yeah, well, good luck with it.
Keeping your creative side going.
Well, I still like playing the violin pretty much every day. That's
a violin, yeah.
Good, yeah, it's a good moment just to kind of reconnect with musicality. And then these Sunday night things I'm going to start up. Last week it was just a drummer and a friend of mine, and it was great, man. I had a mini Moog, sort of, not a mini Moog, but like a mini Nova. They call it a mini Nova, Korg mini Nova.
Yes, I know the mini Nova. Yeah,
those little badasses with a massive frequency cutoff knob. I had that in the left hand doing some bass, and I had just a standard kind of piano keyboard in the right hand doing some chords and stuff. And we were doing this. It was just beautiful, man. I was like, I love Radiohead, and it just had this rhythmic vibe. Literally 3 rolls, with me doing 2 of them. And it felt so good to just be creating music, improvising dance music on the fly. So I'm really looking forward to it. So I mean, like, it costs you $20. It's like better than a movie. It's better than a night out of drinks. It's basically all I want to do is just that all day. So looking forward to this Sunday.
I used to do this thing. Go ahead.
Sorry, this meeting's like giving me it's telling me there's 1 minute left, so I'm worried that you're going to get cut off in the middle of the story.
No worries.
Do you let me just call you back. I don't want to just leave this hanging out.
Yeah, no worries.